Wisconsin Beef Improvement Association's 68th annual bull test and sale was a record breaker. We're talking about it today with Association President Allan Arndt. He reminds us that the WBIA annual test and sale is the oldest continuously running program of its kind, and it draws both high-quality animals and bidders from across the country.
But we have consistently drawn, back in the day when we sold more bulls, we had 150 candidates that were on site from up to, at one point, 300 nominations. The difficulty with that is getting them all moved. Southwest Wisconsin is a great place to sell beef bulls because you've got access to southern Minnesota, eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, and in the state of Wisconsin, as well as points beyond. But we determined that we could do a better job for our consignors if we sold a few less bulls. And so we've limited that now to about 80 bulls to test. We shoot to sell whatever meets the threshold of gain that's determined by the board and by the ration. But we do draw from all over Wisconsin, some locations in Iowa, some locations in Illinois, and we sell across the country. There was a bull that sold into Montana on the Saturday, and that was a repeat buyer. They consistently go into Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska. They go all over the place.
Yeah, because you don't have to be in person to buy. You also have the online auction running too. So
we get buyers and bidders from all over the place, and it's been a wonderful cooperation with DV Auction. That's worked out very well for us. COVID made it a necessity. When the campus was shut down, we couldn't have people on site, and we determined that we were going to have a bull test anyway. And then when it came time to sell them, we had to figure that part out. So those bulls were all sold online. There was nobody in attendance. We had a phone bank and we had DV Auction, and it worked out pretty well. So DV and other auction sites like that have kind of come into their own since the COVID epidemic, and it works very well because people are now comfortable bidding and buying from home.
Well, now we got to talk numbers now, Allan. Tell us just how much did these bulls bring? 68
bulls averaged $5,358, which is a record for us. Angus bulls always sell well. Angus averaged $5,534, and the top seller was a $9,000 bull that was consigned by Mark and Ruth Kuhn, Twin Creek Angus Farm from Fort Atkinson, Iowa. The second high seller was $8,500 bull that came from Brad and Lindsay Johnson, of Johnson Family Cattle in Shawano. Those bulls both left the state. One went to Iowa, one went to Minnesota. The Simmental bulls averaged $5,227. The high-selling bull was consigned by AA Simmentals, and that's me. That bull went to Otto Wagenecht, Milledgeville, Illinois, at $6,500. High-selling Red Angus was consigned by Shamrock Nook, Joe and Sue Dunphy of Albany, and that bull sold for $8,500. Went to Steve Farber from Reedsburg, Wisconsin.
A record-breaking sale, so I assume that these are high numbers.
Well, we're in record territory right now, there's no doubt. We have a very, very strong cattle market, and that certainly drives it. Without any doubt, that's what the driver is. But, again, these are record prices for us. Back in the day, a $2,500 or $3,000 bull was kind of the standard, and we've worked very hard to screen these bulls on the way in. And rather than just make it a horse race where the bulls that gain the most sell the best, we've tried to incorporate some confirmation standards, and we do that by rejecting some bulls at delivery. If they get off the truck and they don't look like they're supposed to look, they get back on the truck, and we don't even accept them. So we've elevated the quality, I think, in terms of confirmation and structure, and there's an EPD review, and our buyers are very savvy, and they know what they want, and they know what they're looking for, and they use all the data we provide, from breed association EPDs to carcass data to gain data. It's all there for them to use to pick and choose the bull that matches their needs, whether that's a growth bull to use on a herd of cows or a calving ease bull to use on a group of heifers, or a bull that does all of that and can use on everything. So we're fortunate that we've got a very smart and educated buying group that comes to our type of sale to pick and choose what they want.
What exactly are you looking for? What qualifies an excellent bull that you don't turn away?
That's evolved over the years. We've taken some strides to do more marketing than just testing. In 1957, they didn't have EPDs. They had nothing other than a breeder's reputation. Mr. Jones's bull is better than Mr. Johnson's bull. So how do you do that? You get them to a location where you can remove some variables and compare those bulls based on their economic ability to perform. In other words, those that gain faster or way more on a weight per day of age basis should be better bulls than those that don't. So it's a head-to-head competition, and the competition is what was stressed for, a solid 60 of those 68 years. And the goal was to bring the bulls down that could gain 4 pounds, 5 pounds, maybe even 6 pounds a day. The problem there was it was single trait selection. And if you're selecting for just one thing, you're ignoring several other important factors that may be necessary to successful beef business, like calving ease, like carcass quality, like conformation. Is that bull going to stay in your herd and breed cows for 4 or 5 years? So by adding the conformation requirements that we do now, both at delivery and before the sale, we've changed from how fast do they grow to our ration says that they should gain 3.2 pounds a day. So every bull that gains 3.2 pounds a day qualifies, providing he can walk, he's got good eyesight, he's up-headed, he passes the semen test, he looks like a bull should look, he's marketable. That has changed, but all of that data is still there. You can still see what their average daily gain was. You can still see what their weight per day of age is. Some of that difference is not as relevant as it might be because these bulls come from different places. One guy may creep feed, one guy may not. One guy may have excess pasture, one guy may run out in July. And they still bring their bulls down, and so they don't all start in the same place. But while they're in Platteville, they're all managed exactly the same. They eat the same feed at the same bunk at the same time for 100 days. And so we've still got a comparison of who does what when that you can then add to breed EPDs and conformation. And it makes for a really nice selection.
Allan, is the Wisconsin Beef Improvement Association's bull program, is it the gold standard? Will it remain the gold standard? Or are you seeing more people branching off and doing their own bull sales, marketing their own cattle genetics?
Oh, I think production sales will always be the standard. A farm or a ranch that can put 50 or 75 or 100 or maybe 350 bulls together to have an auction, where those bulls have been together from the day they're born, is still popular. No doubt about that. You're buying a brand in that case. You're still buying the breeder reputation, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in the Midwest, where the farms are smaller, the herds are smaller, there's less opportunity to do that. This is a fantastic option for people to say, let's put them all in one place. Let's bring these bulls all to high school and see who can perform. And it works very well in this setting. There have been bull tests all over the country that have done this and still do. Most of them, several of them, I should say, are university tests. There's Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota. They all have tests of this nature. Although right at the moment, I would say ours is certainly as strong and successful as any of those.
Allan Arndt, along with us, president of the Wisconsin Beef Improvement Association. He says their 68th annual bull test and sale was a success with good feedback from consignors. The checks are getting cut now, and all of the bulls have left the station and are at their new homes. Nominations start in August for the 69th annual sale. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Stephanie Hoff.